Okay, today I thought we'd talk about Charley'n Me, the world's greatest computerized pre-programmed robot. He's almost human. It's hard to believe, but true. Charlie plays many games with you, just like a human being. Charlie wins, he loses, he draws. Charlie's a real playmate. Charlie is a real friend. Well, imagine that. And in order to enjoy all those things, and you'd have to buy these accessories. Other Charlie games sold separately. Johnny Speed, Susie Homemaker, Johnny Eagle, Wheelin' Deal, Johnny Express, baseball game, football game. The two games that come with it are horse racing and go shopping. Well, this is from 1976. No, I just said that backwards. Let's check the paperwork. This is from 1967, I believe. Let me take a peek here, because somewhere on here I saw the date. I don't remember where. It's New Jersey Deluxe, page 3. Must have been on page 1 somewhere, huh? Was it on the back side? Or was it on the box? Ooh, it's on the box. I'm never going to find it in the instructions. Try to zoom in on this Topper Corporation. Oops. There you go. 1967. Deluxe Topper Corporation. All right. So, I guess I have to pull back more. There are 2 D-cell batteries inside the game. And there, I think we're locked off. And there's a lot of assembly instructions. And then there are separate game instructions. But the long and the short of it is, I have the horse race game set up on the pedestal right now. This is basically old pinball technology is what they've got going on in here. And the motor and the cam parts all still work, but the electrical connection parts not so much, because they weren't using real relays and switches. They were just rubbing copper or brass against steel, which tends to rust and corrode. I think I'm going to have to handhold elevate you here so you can look down on it. So this horse on the outside, as you can see, has 2 contacts on the bottom. This would be me in this case, the player, and finish and start are at the same point. And then this horse here has magnets in the bottom, and that represents Charlie. And Charlie's hand, his right hand, when it's pushed all the way in, completes a switch circuit, which then would allow wherever you place this horse, the player, me, has to move first. And you do that by spinning this, so it'll be some random number, and it said 2, so I went 1, 2. And as soon as you set that horse down, that'll start up the motor in the bottom, which will turn a electric cam, many different switches, many different fingers, and also move a magnet for Charlie, and Charlie will then make his move based on where that horse landed. Then it'd be my turn to randomly pick another number, just happen to end on 2 again. Gee, it happens to end on 2 every time. Oh, there's a 1. But you actually see it's just 1, 2, or 3. So there's a limited number of moves that you can go. And then each time you would make a move, that would, depending upon what circuit that completes underneath when you set the horse down, is going to move Charlie. So in this case I have, since the electrical connections on these raw steel plates on the top side and on the bottom side, and then the wipers that move around as this thing turns, aren't in the best shape. It's in the last 50, almost 60 years. I put a jumper cable on that part, and I'm just using the hand switch to turn the motor off and on so you guys can get a rough idea of what we're talking about. So if I put that down, then Charlie would make his move. whatever that move is, we don't know. Maybe that would have been his move. Then it'd be this player's turn to randomly select one. Says 3, so I'd go 1, 2, 3, and as soon as you set that down, that makes a new electrical connection, and then Charlie is going to make some move with his contacts underneath that equates to that. And so that's how the game goes. The sequencer would preset Charlie to win every time if it weren't for the fact that you've brought in this element here, which kind of randomizes it. So the motors and the gears, they're all metal. They all work fine. It really just comes down to all the contacts underneath. And I guess I really can't show you. I took a picture of it with my camera, but I have never tried holding a camera screen up to the video screen. Let's try it. I mean, if it works, right? See if I can, here we go. Okay, let's see what happens. You're now peering down inside the toy. Over here is where the motor would be, but what I'm showing you there, and there's the wipers right there. Here are all the metal contacts, and they're just steel. I mean, they weren't treated with anything to last, so they tend to rust. And these all make their connection to the top contacts, which you can already see, to these top contacts through rivets. So if any of the steel rusts or the rivets oxidize between the steel and the top and the bottom, you kind of lose connection. So there's just too many different connection points there to keep reliable. I mean, I suppose a person could go through there and try to solder top and bottom every one of the brass rivets to the steel to complete that connection again, and then shine up the steel as good as possible so that you can actually get an electrical connection. Then you could play the game again. But that's it. Huge box, as you can tell. I mean, this is my hand. This box is mammoth. I'll move back so you can get a rough idea. I mean, this is Robbie. Look at the size of that thing. The Charlie robot itself doesn't actually do anything. It's a blow mold. The only thing it does is its hand completes a circuit so that the game won't work unless you have Charlie sitting there. I did that to try to emphasize that it's real. And here, for example, would be the, in order to play the other game, you have to remove, where are they? There's 4 metal rivets here, and up there, and over here. You have to pop those out, then you can lift the game card off and put the new game card on and then pop those metal rivets back in again. And in the case of when you're going shopping, since there's a racehorse, this piece attaches to the center dial part. This actually isn't original to this game. You would turn everything back around to the start position there. That's where you would start. Here's what that part would have looked like originally. But that center piece attaches to the knob, and that becomes part of the game, and it has little cards for when you're going shopping that are involved in it. So, be that as it may, I thought you might find it interesting to see the Charley'n Me from 1967, and why not give you a better view of the instruction sheet. You can use the pause. There you have it. Charley'n Me, the world's greatest computerized pre-programmed robot, or so the box says, and how could we possibly argue with that?